Hello, this is Squirrel 1 with a couple of fun fold cards which make these very impressive looking cards using some lovely summer papers. So I've got two to show you. So I'm going to show you this one, which is the one I've made out of the lovely berries paper. And as you can see, that's what it looks like on the front cover. And when you turn over, you have this lovely square in the other side. So I just think it's a really fun way of showing off our designer series paper to best effect. I love the designer paper and I have really loved this berries one. However, the one I'm going to make today uses the hydrangea paper. So here's the one we're going to make today. And I've used purple posy, which is sadly leaving us very soon, as a card base, with some gorgeous grape and the hydrangea papers. And I've taken out a little bit of an accent from the hydrangeas. I've also used a little one on the back as well. And I just think it's a really fun card, a bit different, a bit of a different fold and a bit of a different technique. So, shall we get started? So, to start with, you'll need a card base in the purple posy, which in this case, I've just folded and scored, as you would normally do. There. So, first of all, I'm going to stick my piece of Hydrangea Special Designer Series paper. Now, as you know, with the Stampin' Up Designer Series papers, you've always got two sides, two options. And in this instance, if you recall from the card how it looks, what you don't realise is the paper here, what you see on the other side is the link to it, okay? Let me show you on the other one. So there you can see there's more of a different contrast, but what you see is you get to see the front cover again on the inside. Okay, so what you first of all you need to do is you need to stick down your designer series paper. Now I've also got this, sorry, I should have said this piece of designer series paper is 10 centimeters by 14.5 centimeters. I'm sorry, I don't have that in old money today, but that's 10 centimeters by 14.5. In addition, I've also included, and you'll see in a minute, I'll explain how this is, there's this little topper. So we've got a piece of gorgeous grape, which is 7 centimeters by 7 centimeters. And then I've also got some contrasting designer series paper, again, a square, which is 6.5 centimeters square, 6.5 by 6.5. So I've just, in order to help us along this afternoon, I've already just pre-stuck that. So mine is all ready to go. So I prepared that as a separate thing and I'm just going to put that to one side. So the trick here in terms of making how the fold bit works, because as you can see, it's folded, but part of it's still sticking out. Okay, I hope that makes a bit of sense. Slightly tricky technique. And what you'll need is a good trimmer along with a sharp blade for your trimmer. Okay, so this is my Stampin' Up trimmer. Now, there's a little, and I'm really sorry, I can't remember the lady or the demonstrator whose technique this was, but they gave a fantastic tip when they were doing their cutting. So once you've got that set up, I'm taking a 3" by 3" piece of Post-it note, and I'm going to stick that, let me just get rid of the trimmer for a moment. I'm going to stick that in my top corner, so and I just want to make sure it's right up against the edge. So I'm just going to look at it sideways so I know it's right against the edge. Okay, now basically what you're going to do is you're going to cut from this corner to the edge, okay, up to 5/8 of an inch before you get to the edge. Okay, so by having the Post-it on there, you give yourself a bit of a guide. And it just helps you make sure, because sometimes where the designer series paper is quite busy or you've got quite a lot of activity happening, it can be quite hard to see where you're going to be cutting. Now, don't forget to open your card because you're only going to cut on the designer series side. So I'm going to slip my card under. Now, I'm actually also going to just stand up for this because I want to be able to see right on top. So I want to make sure, so as with all Stampin' Up things, you have two trimmer blades. You have a scorer, which is this light grey one, which has a roller blade in it. And then my cutting blade, which is the dark blade. So I'm just going to put that to one side. I just want to make sure it's really in the right place. So I'm just going to put it back a tiny bit. And this is where you can really use your guide. So we know that the post-it is 3 inches by 3 inches. So you can line it up on the 3-inch mark. There it is. Now I'm just going to lift it up again and push it down to the middle. And then when I'm ready to go, so I'm going to line up, there's a little indent on the blade cutter here. So I'm going to be brave, put it down, and I'm going to slide it until I'm 5/8 of an inch to the end, okay? So for me, I've got to go to the, because the numbers are going this way, I'm going to the 5 1/4 mark. And I just had to familiarise myself with where that is, because otherwise I'm not that good with inches, as you probably gathered. So here goes, down I go, cutting through to keeping it firmly in place to the 5 1/4 mark. Okay? I'm going to lift that out, put my cutting blade to the side, and you can't really see, but I can now show you that there is a gap. Oh, I'm trying to see if I can show this on camera. And I can get my finger in underneath there. Okay, now we're going to cut down this side this time. So reorientate my card, and again I'm going to line it up on the 3 inches because I know that's where the post-it note goes, and bring my blade up to the 3 inches, and then just be brave, put it down, and this time I'm going to go to the 5/8 of an inch on that end. Okay, up, and hopefully that's my trimmer out the way. So you should now have, I'm going to peel off my post-it note, and you should now have a corner that completely comes up. Now before we do the folding trick, what you just need to do is you do need to give it a bit of a wiggle. This will help loosen up some of the paper threads underneath it. So as we know, paper's all woven bits and pieces underneath it, so it just loosens it up and makes it a bit more pliable. And the same on this side. Sorry, I'm making a bit of a racket where it catches the edge of the table. Just going to give it a bit of a wiggle, because otherwise it can be a bit stiff to fold. And then you've just got to be brave. So you're going to fold it literally so it goes under like that. I can't think what these are called. I'm so sorry. Have your squisher, for the sake of it. It's been a long day and I've completely forgotten what they're called. So just fold it over. And then what you now need is you need the back bit in, because actually you want to be able to line it up so it's straight with the back and even. So there we go, that's looking good. Sorry, I'm not straight here, so you can't quite tell. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to score that down. And then I'm just going to score down on the other corner. Okay. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, is that right? Yes, it absolutely is right. So once you've done that, I'm just going to squeeze, and I've used liquid glue for this, to put a little bit of glue underneath, because what you're going to do is you're going to glue underneath so it just catches the corner and your corner stays down. You don't, if you wanted to and wanted to be more secure, you could glue all the way along, but I just think just a little bit to hold it in the corner. And it's also good if you want to push it from this side. So there you can see the beautiful designer series paper is coming through on this side as well. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So it was careful cutting, wiggle the sides to make sure the paper strands are loose, and then gently fold it over. Okay, and now you have that corner effect, and you have that beautiful designer series paper showing on the inside. So the final part, and it's a really quick card, looks fantastic. I'm going to pop my piece of gorgeous grape with the contrasting designer series paper on here. And I'm going to do this time, I'm going to do my lines up and down. There we go. Isn't that lovely? Now, I've also cut out, so some of the hydrangea paper has some lovely bunches of hydrangeas, so to speak. So it depends how you want to do it. You could have something across like that, or as I had my other one, I had a piece that had it was actually the edge piece. So I had one, you could have one that goes across flat. You could add something else. There are all sorts of things you could add. I'm going to do the cross one this time. You could add butterflies, anything like that. There's lots of lovely summery things that you could add. I'm just going to use some Tombow glue. And here you go, actually you can see some of the other contrasting colours with the lovely hydrangea paper. And I'm going to line that up with my edge of my purple stripy paper. Give that a nice gentle press. Now, the other thing you could add, I think I'm going to with this one, I didn't on the Arthur one, I've got made a lovely little ribbon. Now, I was looking at my ribbons to see what would go very well, and there are two ribbons. There is the gorgeous grape sheer ribbon, which is the one I'm using here, which is, well, what it says, it's beautiful and lovely and goes very well. Or if you haven't got that, there are lots of other similar ribbons, which again I think would go very well, because as you've got some of the darker colour purples, this is, it was a striped ribbon, and I think if I'm remembering, this is a Blackberry Bliss striped ribbon. So there's a number of different contrasts you can have with your ribbons. And I'm just going to use a couple, I have pre-tied my ribbon, only because I didn't want to embarrass myself by getting it all over the place on camera. But also, I want to make sure that it all works properly. So I'm just going to, I think I'm going to put my ribbon here. So I'm just going to take off a couple of little glue dots and just put them on. And I'm just, make sure they're done. I'm just going to squish my ribbon gently on the corner. And then finally, with this lovely Hydrangea Hill suite, they've brought out the most fantastic pearls. I don't know if you can see some of those colours there. I think they're beautiful. So I've just chosen 3 random pearls, which I'm going to use for this one, if I can get hold of them. And again, I'm just going to use a, how to say, it's a pokey tool just to put them on. Just randomly. One, there we go. Oops, I'm having a bit of trouble. So when they do this and they go flying across the room, you'll laugh, I'm sure, but I don't know that I will. And finally I've got one of the little white silvery ones, silvery grey ones. There we go. Now, I think that works okay, but I think you can get a bit more contrast still if you put on the inside, we pop a little piece of white card. And there is another version of the Hydrangea Hill fancy corner card. I hope you've enjoyed these, and I look forward to seeing if you want to make one of your own. Thank you.